tree came down and the gate bit the dust. So what we're going to be doing is replacing that, building a new one, a big heavy fabricated steel thing, and putting in some nice new steel posts. I'm not real excited about the old one, so I have a little different design in mind that I think will look really good here. This is the spot where the gate was. Cleaned up the bank a little bit, took out the tree stump, and we'll be taking out this telephone pole. You can see it's burnt there on top. Had that fire affect a lot of the wooden fencing and gate infrastructure around here. And so we'll yank that sucker out and drill some holes and put in some new steel ones, and we'll put together the gate, and I'll take you along for the ride. There you go. Got the auger on there. Got a 12-inch bit there to drill out the holes. We're going to be setting those 6-inch pipes. Got 4 holes drilled here. Getting ready to put those gate posts in. Okay, whoa! Okay, so this is what we've come up with so far. So these are 10-foot posts, and I've got them 4 feet into the ground. This one's 4 feet anyway. That one's about 4.5, and then a little less on this side. The gate's going to be hung on this side over here. Part of the reason why this is built the way that it is, as heavy as it is you know, I wanted to do this kind of fabricated architectural steel gate out of this 3x6 box steel. The challenge with that is that the thinnest wall that seems to be industry standard, or is at least stocked anywhere, is 3/16. Realistically, for this style of gate, you know, less than 1/8 inch would be fine, but 3/16 what's available. And so with, you know, kind of like 3 crossbars, you can imagine, one there, one in the middle, and then one here, and just 2 uprights. You know, for the gate panel itself, we're looking around 440 pounds. And so that's quite a lot of weight. And on ranches, you know, we're all pretty much always fighting with sagging gates. Either they're bound up on the you know, the opposite post, or they're dragging on the ground and you have to lift them to move them. And so, you know, if you can avoid it, you know, it's best to build it into the design initially. And so 4 feet's fairly deep into the ground, but this ground, you can see here, we got some water. There's a lot of springs on this property, and the ground here is kind of damp. I don't know how it's going to be in the summer, but that doesn't really matter. It gets damp part of the year. And so a single post is out of the question. That's going to sag. And so what we did is did a double post design with the brace post. That's the rear one there, back 5 feet, and that's, you know, it's also in like 4 feet. It seems like overkill, but you know, you come back 3 years later and your post is leaning, and it, you know, you went through all this trouble. I've done this a ton of times before, and it kind of sucks, and I don't really like redoing stuff, so that's what I'm doing. Not super stoked about all the, you know, fresh looking steel there, kind of silver, almost looks like some kind of modern thing you'd see around like a, I don't know, a mall or something. But it'll rust up and brown up over time. I'm not going to paint it. And hopefully sooner than later. And I think once nature starts to grow in around them, it'll look okay and not be too crazy. So here's what we've got so far. Got most of the welding done today. Wet, actually pretty smooth. The big thing with this was, you know, the driveway here is kind of lumpy, and so had to do a lot of shimming and blocking to get the everything all aligned and level. but got it together. And here's something really interesting that took a bit of thought to come up with. This is a community slide lock arrangement with a twist. So normally what you have when you have a whole bunch of different people that are using a single gate is you'll either use a chain with links cut out of it, and then different locks that tie those links together, or you'll use something like this where you have these tie straps that basically do the same thing and prevent or allow a slide bar. This is actually running kind of long right now, so that I can trim it to fit for the gate. And so I have that, but what I added to this arrangement, and I've not seen this before, but I'm really stoked about it, is I added these anti-cut dividers. And basically what they do is prevent somebody from being able to get a set of bolt cutters in there and being able to access the lock with the jaws. So these are set like I think an inch and a quarter apart. And so there's just no way that you could get bolt cutters in there adequately to get at that hasp, basically no matter which direction you have the lock arranged. And then I added these this double-sided handle arrangement. Ultimately there's going to be a cattle panel screen that's welded, there we go, fixing the focus, that's welded into these openings here, top and bottom, and then with the exception of the opening where the handles are. And for those of you who haven't seen a community lock arrangement, the way they work is if any one of the, let me fix the focus again, if any one of the locks is removed, it allows the chain of tie plates to come apart. So you can see there's not a lock in this hole here, but if there was, it would prevent the whole assembly from retracting. The first tie plate is secured to the gate frame, and then the second one just kind of rides on the tube. Same with, the bar. Same with the third one. In the case of the fourth one here, you can see I've got it welded to the bar. And so, there's plenty of ways to defeat this if you have power tools. But for most people that are just, being mischievous or whatever, what you're up against is bolt cutters. And so you're not going to be able to quickly get through this gate without more serious intervention, with a vehicle anyway. Of course, you could hop over it, but that's not the point. We'll get those screens in, and maybe the cap's on. I'll show you one more time, and then we'll get the gate hung. All right, well, that's a wrap. So we got this thing hung yesterday, and it went pretty good. Getting it all positioned in there, it's like 400 pounds I think it was like 440. A little bit tricky, hung from the tractor. Tractor's, continually creeping down a little bit. So we kept having to reposition while getting those hinges in place. These are the hinges that I used. Picked these up on Amazon. They're 7-inch. I think they were about $30 for the pair of them. You can mount them a bunch of different ways. In this case, what I ended up doing is mounting them kind of diagonally on there to get the spacing back from the post face, set back, and then also for the gap that I wanted. I had 3-inch clearance on this fence between the gate posts. Between the gate post and the gate itself. And so I wanted 1.5 inches on either side. And so just kind of played with the angle of the hinges to get that to happen. Let's see. So another thing I added was, this little block here, and basically that prevents the whole gate, hinge side from being lifted off of the pins, and removed. For, like if somebody wanted to just get in, if they could lift it. If I want to take the gate off though, I just get in here and grind this out, or use a die grinder and cut the weld off, and I'd be good to go. Let's see. The slide lock worked out really good. It's super smooth. We'll have to keep some oil on this over time, because with it all being bare steel, it's certainly going to rust up, and inside of those tubes the clearance isn't real wide. So there's that, but it actuates with very little effort. Originally I was going to add a handle, you know, with a swing pivot, kind of like on the Powder River gates, and didn't end up needing to do that for the leverage. It slides with very little effort. And you see how the locks fit in there. And yeah, there's no way you're going to get a bolt cutter on those. Let's see, something I was not certain on the other day was whether I was going to cap those holes in the ends of the upper and lower rail. I thought it just looked better with those closed up. And then it, you know, despite being incredibly huge and heavy, it swings with very little effort. It's got some momentum to it, but outside of that, it's, you know, like, doesn't take any real strength to move it. And then it holds position, so that'll, you know, kind of tell you that the hinges are hung plumb. So yeah, real happy with how this came out, with one exception, and this is kind of just a personal thing. But you know, I am a kind of a fabricator, and so I like to get things just right. When I hung this, I set level. I set level with a jack underneath the right hand side, and set basically the top offset off of those caps to the same right and left, and welded on the upper hinge, and then got the right side to where it was the same, you know, spacing off of the cap up there, so that it, you know, it was even. And then I welded the lower hinge, and when I let the weight off of the jack, I feel kind of silly for this. The gate didn't flex, the post didn't flex, but the play in the hinges was taken up. The lower hinge, you know, of course, the play is taken up this way. In the upper hinge, the play is taken up that way. And that resulted in a 1/2 inch drop on the gate on the right side. So, you know, it is level, but or close to it, but it's slightly below what it should be on the right hand side. And I jumped on it and was like kind of springing up and down, and you know, it's totally solid. It's rock solid. There's no spring action or anything, so it's not moving. But that's kind of irksome, you know, considering, you know, you try for perfection or whatever. But you know, for a ranch gate, I think it'll do the trick. Let me know if you have any questions about, you know, how I dealt with different things regarding this build, or you know, if you've seen any of this stuff before. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys are into it, please hit the like button, and subscribe for more of these types of projects. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.